There's some of you that might have needed a little bit more time on the quiz. That's fine. I would strongly encourage you to come see me on one of your off periods. It doesn't matter if you have a first or second period off. It doesn't matter if you come in here. You have a fifth off. Doesn't matter if you come in here. If you have fourth, sixth, seventh, or eighth, I should be here next door. If I'm not there right away, it just means I might be in the restroom. Does that make sense? This story making sense to everybody? Okay. Couple things. I was pretty darn impressed with the quizzes. Some of you are still struggling a little bit, but let me just warn you. I'm not warn like in a bad way. I'm just give you a heads up that keep plugging along with what you're doing. It's going to start to click. Okay? There's going to be some ahas that are going to take place. Okay? Now, some of you was faster than others. Doesn't mean if it hasn't clicked yet for you, it doesn't mean there's something broken with you. Just keep pushing along. Keep realizing there are things that are available. If you have missed, please make sure you watch the videos that we will post. Like this video is recording right now, so this should be up by noonish today. But that's what we have. So I will do this. Hey, how are you? Give me one of these. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you.
You good?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you. All right. Joaquin, that came for you. All right. So, now here's kind of a nicety. We've taken quizzes so far. Agree? Okay. They haven't been tested yet. No chapter test. If you can show me on a chapter test that you know it, I can still keep your score in, but turn it to like a light purple, which means it doesn't count against you now. But you have to prove to me that you can do it, and I think you can. You know, our tests in here are relatively good tests. We give you something called the take-home test first, which they are very similar types of problems that look very similar to the problems on the test. Okay? So that's kind of a cool thing. So we didn't have any homework over the weekend, right?
Yes.
Sorry about that. I apologize. I got all these emails, people mad. Why didn't you give us homework? This is not fair. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, my friends, would you turn to, in your notes, I forget what page it is. It looks like it would be page 41. If you don't have your book with you or haven't gotten it yet, grab a sheet of my paper if you want, or use your own paper. But let's see how we do. Page 41, I got it up there. I'll highlight it so it's easy to identify up there. Page 41. So, also, if you needed some more time on the quiz or you haven't taken the quiz, you need to come and see me so I can update your grade. Okay, you don't want a low mark because you needed more time. I would say by Wednesday would be when I'd like it done by. Okay, don't be that kid that comes see me like December 15th, the day before we get out of school, saying, "Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't realize you and I are both December, kid."
Oh.
Rock on. I'm the 30th.
Oh.
So, did everyone find this page? A place to do notes? We're good? We're happy? All right. Okay. Absolute values. Absolute value. Okay? That wall right there and that wall right there, there is a certain distance from that wall to me and from me to that wall. Agree? What do you always know about distance? It is a number. I like it. But let's say, hey, do you guys get off campus now, finally?
I do.
After this week? Okay. So, my friends, let's say you decide to walk from here to another class, and then you walk from that class back to here, did you ever walk a negative distance? No. Okay? So let's think about that for a minute. So if I walk someplace, I walked a certain distance. If I walk from that place back to where I come from, I never walked a negative distance. I have an overall distance. So what my point is on this is when we are doing an absolute value, we want to think about that an absolute value is like a distance. It's not going to be negative. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so we're talking about distances. Okay, so let's see. Go here. Whoop. All right. Let's see. You don't have that. Cool. All right. So my friends, these vertical brackets, they act like a grouping symbol, like a parenthesis, but it's just a grouping symbol. So what do you think the absolute value of 5 would be? Positive 5. But then the one below it says the absolute value of negative 10. What do you think that would be? 10. Okay. So what does this really mean? Well, you would have some value x here, and you could have a distance of 3 this way and a distance of 3 this way. Okay. Now, the reason I put x and I didn't put 0, because this doesn't have to represent 0. This just means, hey, I'm so far this way or this way on the number line. And that's a really bad excuse of a number line. But I have a distance of both ways being 3. Does that make sense, my friends? Everyone follow me? All notes going all right? You what? You can write whatever you need to. Do you have this part? Yep, it's at the bottom. So I'm at the bottom of page 41, yes? All right, first one. What's the absolute value of negative 82? What's the absolute value of it, negative 82? Is it just 82? What's the absolute value of 57? Nope, it's always going to be positive. We can never have a negative distance. Okay, so which number is bigger, 82 or 57? Boom, that way. 41. Yep. What about number 2? What are my two values going to be? 67 and 70. Which number is bigger? Done. Does that make sense? What about number 3? What are my two numbers? 70 and 91. Which number is bigger? What about number 4? 27 and 42. Which number is bigger? Okay. Number 5. 22 and 19. Which number is bigger? Number 6. 61, 61. Which number is bigger? They're equal. Okay. I think we're kind of moving along on this nicely. Agree? Okay. Feeling pretty good about this so far. Does this all make sense? Now, I'm going to put a little disclaimer. What is this answer going to be? What do you feel? 3? What is this answer going to be, though? It's going to be a negative 3. Okay? Does everyone feel comfortable that this is outside the absolute value? So what we're doing is we're saying, hey, what's the absolute value of 3? It's 3. What's the opposite of it? Now, here's extra bonus footage. What do you think that answer is going to be? Yeah, it's going to be negative 3. So the reason why this works, what's the absolute value of the negative 3? Just this part, ignoring the parentheses. Or this is positive 3. Then we have a negative sign here. Okay? So, and I know that's not on your notes, but I just wanted to put that forward to make sure we feel comfortable with it.
If the negative is outside of the box,
It'll stay negative. Does that make sense? Not too bad. All right. All right. Okay. Do I have your permission to take this from Algebra 1 to a pre-calculus real quick? 4 math classes from now? Can I do that? All right. I'm gonna see if we can handle this. I think we can. Okay. I'm gonna bring up a new term and I'm gonna call it critical value. Okay. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna say, hey, we're gonna talk about a critical value. Okay. Does this make sense so far? I just want critical value. So what in the heck does a critical value mean? Okay. If I wanted this to be equal to 0, notice what did I just do? I dropped the absolute value signs. So what does this solve this? Notice I made it equal to 0. I know it's equal to 3, but I made it equal to 0. Solve that red part. What is x equal to? -2. Okay. So this is my critical value. So let me pause there for a minute. Let's talk about what I just did. I brought up a new term. It's called critical value. I took this from Algebra 1 to pre-calculus. Okay? This critical value is whatever was in the absolute value sign set equal to 0. That becomes your critical value. That is not my answer, though. That's not my answer. It's just my critical value. Okay? Let's see if you can see what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 this way. And I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 this way. Okay, so my critical value is exactly in the center. I have a distance of 3 here. I have a distance of 3 here. Does that make sense? Yes. Now this is like a big jump going critical value. Okay. Basically, what we did is I solved my equation based on the critical value. So, friends, where do you think I went to right 3 and to the left 3? How do you think that happened? Because it's equal to 3. So this is what it's equal to. So the distance from here to here. So, my friends, my answers to this question is 1 is the answer. That's what x can equal. And it can also equal -5.
So we put x equal to -5 as
Perfect. Now, let me walk us through this real quick to verify why this works. We're equal to 3. Agree?
Yes.
So let's take 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. The absolute value of 3 is +3. Take -5. -5 plus 2 is -3. Something costs $5. You have $2 in your pocket, so it's -3. What's the absolute value of -3? 3. So this is a little bit different thought. A critical value is what is right in the middle of our answers. And again, Algebra 1 curriculum doesn't say to bring critical values. I'm going to show you what Algebra 1 curriculum is, which unfortunately kind of goofed things up later. But what they would have done to do this as Algebra 1, they would have went x plus 2 equals 3 and -x minus 2 equals 3, and then solve each one. That's that answer. +2 plus 2. Multiply both sides by a -1. Okay? So let's think about what this really means. I brought up a term. Again, it's not algebraic, Algebra 1. I brought up a pre-calculus idea. I talked about something called a critical value. The critical value is whatever you have inside the absolute value sign solved. I mean, let's face it, x plus 2 equals 0 is a really easy problem to solve. Agree? Is anyone stuck on that? By me doing that, so this is not the answer. This is not the answer. My answers are each of these. So x equals -5, x equals 1. Those are my answers. The -3 happens to be what is halfway in between those. Okay, that is such a big, huge idea, realizing a critical value. So let me, before I go to the next screen, let me just see if we can talk our way through this. Okay, so my friends, critical value. What do you think? Close. -7. The reason it's -7 is you take what's inside there, set it equal to 0, subtract 7. So I get x equals -7. So if you think on a number line, you have -7 here, okay? I go 2 this way. The reason I go 2 this way is I get here, that's -5. And I go 2 this way, and that gives me an answer of -9. These are my two answers. Okay? So the critical value, so this is a lot different thought process, but I think it's going to help you build upon mathematically what things are doing. Okay? I think I can take you all there. Yes? No, it's just, it's easy when you have the line. I mean, you could easily like look at 7 going, I have to go to the right 7, so that's -5. I have to go left 7, which is -9. I think you can do it in your head. I'm just putting the line there just to show I had a distance here of 2 and I had a distance here of 2. That's what this 2 represents. So the critical value is, what am I above? What am I below? How far? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I love your answer. So let's take a look at that number 1. This is on your stuff? Okay. So let me ask. What do I have inside the absolute value sign? X. So what number do you think we're going 12 above and 12 below? If nothing's there, what is nothing in math? 0. So my critical value on this one is equal to 0, because you would take what's inside the absolute value, set it equal to 0. There's nothing to do. So my answers to this one are x equals 12 and x equals -12. Did it work out? Cool.
Would it ever make you choose the final answer, or just put it?
So, do you say that one more time?
So, like, you know how there's 2 answers?
Mm-hmm.
Should we put exactly down the 2, or will we have to choose between?
You'll put both. Yeah, there'll be 2 answers. All right. So problem number 2. Problem number 2. Is the 3 inside the absolute value or not? So it's not inside the absolute value, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Okay, do you see what I did? What do you think my critical value would be? What's inside the absolute value? A y and nothing. So 0 is my critical value. So what are my answers? 16 and -16. Done. Yeah.
So why is it though that on any one column uses 0 equals 0, but on this one you use a dash?
Oh, great question. So what do I have inside here? I have nothing. I'm just going to take whatever's inside here and set it equal to 0. So it automatically finds the critical value automatically because there was nothing else other than a letter inside.
Well, I mean, like on the other side, like why do we put 0 there?
Oh, because an absolute value is a distance. So if you were to walk from here to your English class and then English back to here, you never once walked a negative distance. So this room is like the critical value. So you'd say, if I said, hey, count how many steps you took getting to your English class, and you took the exact same route back and the same pacing, and you'd have to dodge and weave around somebody, it might take you 355 steps to get there, and then it might take you 355 to get back. And I'm just making an arbitrary number. Now you're thinking, all right, I'm going to count from here to English how many steps. You're going to come back in tomorrow. Stirrup is 427. Okay, sorry. I don't know. Okay. Some thoughts on this one. What do you think I should do first? Is the 2 inside the absolute value? No. I can do this. Divide. Absolute value of z is equal to 32 over 2 is 16. So what's my critical value here? What's inside the absolute value? It's just going to be 0. So my critical value is 0. Okay. Now we're going to go above and below the 0 by 16. So I'm going to find that z is equal to 16 and negative 16. Ooh. All right, friends. Let's see who's paying attention. What is my critical value for number 4? 4. Okay, I got 4. The reason I got 4 is I'm going to set this equal to 0, add 4 to both sides. Add 4. Okay, so my answer will be 6 above 4. What's 6 above 4? 6 plus 4 is? 10. What is 6 below 4? 4 minus 6. Negative 2. This is such a different thought. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm finding a critical value. Again, we are going from Algebra 1 to pre-calculus, finding a critical value.
Are we going back to algebra?
Yeah. So we have the critical value is the pre-calc idea, which I feel is an easier idea. So what basically, if I had 10 and negative 2, now I wanted to find what's exactly in the middle of 10 and negative 2. The value right in the middle of the 2 is 4. Okay? Number 5. What am I going to do with what I just underlined? Set it equal to what? 0. Do you agree with that so far? I'm going to go positive 4 to both sides. Good. And then? How do I get x by itself? So what is my critical value? Huh? Positive 2. That's my critical value. Okay? That's my critical value. So x is going to be how much above and how much below positive 2? How far is x going to be above it? What is this? 10. How, if I go 10 above 2, or 10 plus 2 I get. And if I go 2 minus 10. 2 minus 10. Negative 8.
Why is it negative? Yeah, why is it negative?
2 minus 10. Because you go above it and go to the right, to the left. You go to the right, you add. Go to the left, you subtract. So this would have been 2 plus 10 and 2 minus 10. And that's how I would have gotten these answers. This is a bigger idea. Okay, I think we can do this. Number 6. Think about this. Talk to me. Critical value. Negative 3. Does everyone feel comfortable with that? X plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3, subtract 3. How far above 3 will I go? Ooh. This is a good one. This is a good one. Okay. Wait a minute. Stirrup just got no solution. Dude, I got the critical value, but he gave us no solution for an answer. Okay, what was one of the first things I said about absolute value and distance? It's never what? Negative. Never negative. On number 6, I have a negative distance. That doesn't mean I walked backwards. Ooh. So, if you have an absolute value sign, still following me on this? And you've done all of the math you can do with that absolute value sign, and it's equal to a negative number, it will automatically resort to no solution. Okay, so look at number 7. I have to go down to it. Look at number 7. My critical value appears to be 0. Agree? Can I go a distance of negative 27? What's the answer to 7? No solution. Now, I'm going to show you why this is taking place. That's there. That's there. Agree? They're both negative. So if you have an absolute value sign all by itself, there's nothing else attached to that absolute value sign. Everything is moved away from the absolute value. If it comes out to be negative, it's automatically no solution. So you might look at number 8 and say, oh yeah, that's also no solution. But is it? What should I do to get that absolute value all by itself? By? Yeah. Ooh. So look at this. So this one, I'm dividing by -4 first. Those cancel. So I get the absolute value of 7. What's my critical value on this one? Whatever's inside the parentheses set equal to 0. So what's my absolute or my critical value? 0. So critical value is 0. And then I'm going to go 7 above that. 0 plus 7? 7. And 7 below. Now notice my answers, I have negatives that my answers can exist with. It's because this, you can't have a negative distance. So you go on a road trip, you drive someplace, you drive from here, you drive to the mall. Then you drive home from the mall, or you ride with somebody to and from the mall. You never once did a negative distance, okay? Your odometer, the thing that reads how many miles you have on your car, just because you drove someplace and you drove back, didn't roll backwards one way. All right, let's take a look at number 9, and then we'll see how we do. What do you think I should do to both sides first? Not divide yet. What should I do with the 16? Subtract it. Okay, so those cancel. So I get negative absolute value of x equals, I believe, 24. Multiply each side by -1. So I get absolute value equals -24. Absolute value is all by itself. Agree? Absolute value is equal to a negative number. What does the solution have to be? No solution. And again, it has to do with, once I have the absolute value all by itself, I cannot have a negative number.
So that negative is a -1 on the outside?
Yeah, that negative. So this becomes -1 times 24 gives me -24. -1 times negative, those becomes positive. So that's going to give you positive here, but it's going to give you a negative over here.
So do we just push the -1 and the absolute value x together?
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm trying to remove everything that was with the absolute value. So I have this building standing alone. I want to clear the weeds away from the outside of it. Numbers, signs, symbols. I want the absolute value to stand alone. I want to clear the fire line. Make sense? Cool. That was all the notes, wasn't it? Okay, now I gave you some huge thought process ideas of going, what? And this critical value. But I think you can handle it. You guys want a lot of homework tonight?
No.
Okay, I'll only give you one page then. How about we try page 43, 1 through 13. What do you know about the odd answers? Good, on Schoology.
And also, too, class